healing has always been quite a fascination, because when you have so much trauma and all this different stuff that affects you in either your teenage years with love, relationships, and whatever else, or even in your adult life where it affects how you view yourself, how confident you are, and the same thing I'd mentioned with love, relationships, co-workers, and everything like that. It is always a fascination to see everything that affects you in your life. And the reason why I'm talking about this is there's a book I've got from Amazon, and it's been on TikTok and everything. It's a book that asks you questions about yourself, where you can write down what it is, and when you flip the other page, there's potentially something else asking you. Because it'd be like, alright, write down your trauma. And then you'd write it down, and it would say, that's a terrible example, I can't remember what it did say. Or one example would be, the one I just did today was, what is one thing you would like to have in your life? Example would be like adventure and so on. I said adventure. And once you write down why, you can, on the back page it says, okay, write that word and then either a doodle or whatever else. It is really interesting. And I have another idea about colors, but that'll be for a different time. But this book I am referring to is The Healing Pages by the Timeless Heritage, I believe the author is. But going through the first section of the book, The Past, it is an experience. It is wow. Because with that trauma thing I mentioned, there's a lot of things I do with relationships with people where I'm willing to admit that I push them away, pull them, push, pull, push, pull. It is not good for someone like me. And the fact that I figured out, because part of it too is I also have abandonment issues, which, it won't go into reasons why. After writing it down, seeing everything unfold, and seeing where it got stemmed from, I sat there and I was like, oh, that's why. Oh, which healing doesn't exactly make you feel better. Writing it down, and I think journaling and writing it down is such a helpful way of dealing with it, but helps you helps you feel lighter after writing it down. Because when you're holding all this weight, walking around with it, it is really hard to not be weighed down by everything that's going on. Like, have a terrible day at work, and everything you're doing was just wrong. Well, that's going to be thrown onto your shoulders with all that other weight. So when you eventually write it down, get your thoughts out, you eventually feel lighter and you don't feel as heavy. Because when you're walking around with stuff like that, you will collapse in. Because I have collapsed in too many times, and I would never want anyone to handle it like that. But seeing your patterns, seeing all what happens with you, how you act with certain people, and triggers and everything is all very fascinating when you see why you have them. Why you have attachment issues, abandonment issues, clinginess, and all these other multitude of things you may potentially have. It is quite interesting, and I'm not recommending you to get a book like what I just said. I'm more or less just saying, write down whatever you have in your head, and who knows, maybe some of the dots will be connected. Maybe some of them will actually make sense. You won't know until you actually try. Because sure, you could sit there in your room all day, lights off, being like, why does no one love me? And see all the potential problems in you, and you're not doing anything to fix it. It doesn't help you in that case. So working towards yourself, seeing all the problems, seeing everything, writing it down, connecting the dots, help someone like you that can be potentially see a far better version of yourself. Because truth be told, none of us are perfect. No one will ever be. And I guess the biggest step into healing is to love yourself. Because sure, you could do all this healing, you can see all the patterns, you can see all this, and so on, But if you ultimately hate yourself at the end of the day, healing will do nothing. Because, I mean, I've seen multitude of things. Like, I do have self-image issues. I can't stand to look at myself in the mirror. It sucks. But thing I've done, and it is really hard to do, is I look at myself in the mirror and I see all the imperfections. It is really uncomfortable to do at first, but when you start doing it more and more, and you see all the little imperfections, and then you eventually start falling in love with yourself, it is one of the best things that can happen. I mean, I guess that's the whole point of the video, is loving yourself is one big part of healing. Because without it, I mean, how can you expect to heal? How can you expect to become the person you want to be, to become better, to make sure no one else falls to your terrible habits, to the hurt you may have caused them in the past, to any future people you may meet, potential friends, potential relationships, potential boyfriends, girlfriends, depending whatever way you go, whoever you are. Because if you don't heal yourself and you're going to constantly make sure they love you, check on you, and everything like this, yeah, like, sure, it works to a degree, but if you're doing it excessively, where it actually hurts the relationship, then it may be time to take a step back, look at yourself, and, well, figure out how to be better. That is all I got for today, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.